Hey, evening people. My name's Kareem. YouTube handle KazamaFury, aka Midnight Gamer, Insomniac. And tonight I was sitting here thinking about an old school memory from my wall of old school for the great Sega Saturn. Well, I think it's great. A lot of people didn't like it, but it's a cult following. So I was thinking about a game that was probably one of the shining stars in the Sega Saturn's short life, and that's Shining Force 3. Okay? For most enthusiasts know that Shining Force had 3 scenarios. One only made it to America, and that's scenario 1, of course. The synopsis of the story is that it was war going on between 2 factions. Well, the war was brewing. We had the Republican that stood for freedom and rights for all the citizens, and then we had the Empire that wanted to rule and conquer with the iron fist, which is like Republicans are the Democrats and the Empires are the Republicans in our world. Kind of sound backwards, but you get the theme, I hope. Alright, so even both sides of the gate, there are good and bad people who had a lot of plotting behind their back, a lot of conspiracy to overthrow the main characters or the main influential people in both factions. Okay, so also, life imitating art, we have a religious cult or religion itself playing a lot of influence into the way things happen in this game. Alright, so the storyline may sound a little superficial. When you play it, it may look at, but it's very deep and it makes you think about stuff that's really going on, how religion does play a part, but that's another story. I don't want to get into a religious rant. Okay, each disc starts off, it takes place, all these stories take place at the same time, but when it records scenarios, it's seen through the perspective of 3 main characters. Now, the first character for scenario 1 is Lord Symbius right here on the cover with the sword, who's aka fights with the savageness of a tiger. He's probably one of probably the strongest character with median. A lot of people thought it was median, but Symbius is very powerful. Okay, very soft spoken. Even though it's all written and stuff, but he wasn't one to be saying much in the game out of everybody. Okay? And every game starts out with a 4-man party. It starts out with Symbius here, Lord Symbius, great lord of the Republic, son of great comrade of the Republic, who took his father's place leading this team. Okay, you have your cleric, who's the healer and shaman, that's Grace. She's like a halfling wolf woman. And you have the elf woman, the dwarf elf, I guess, because she's human sized, masculine. And not shown here is Danteris, the Centaur Knight, who fights for the Republic, one of the more fairer people who's being plotted against, okay? And of course, in all these games, you meet characters, and if you play your cards right and you do the right things, they join your party, and the more characters, the merrier. The more easier the not real time, but the RPG strategies become, alright? So for those who imported, I modded my Saturn. I was able to enjoy Scenario 2 that never came out here in America, to much Shining Force 3 fans' disappointment that this never came out here. But if you import it like I did, I went to Chinatown. Everybody know, bigging up J&L Games, they had some old classic stuff back in the day. Still do, okay? This is Scenario 2, starring this character, Prince Median, youngest prince of the Empire. Let's say he's the good prince out of all the evil. His father and his 2 brothers are very, very sinister and scheming, and he's more like the Symbius of the Empire, alright? And of course, the same synopsis, 4-man party. You start out with Lord Campbell, who's a Centaur Knight, just like Dantaris. And you start out with Synthesis, which is she's Mascarin's equivalent. She's an elf, but she's a blonde. And you start out with small little dwarf Udo. He's a cleric like Grace. Alright?